The experience of using social media is very passive. You are being fed content by an algorithm. It tracks your behavior, and it creates the feed that you are going to consume. But Vyry actually flips this model. Vyry is creating a model that's all about active interaction and creating your own world by blending physical and digital. Right? It's not dictated by algorithms, but crafted by the users, and it's your own bespoke world. So how are you exactly creating this world, Tommaso?
I think that user-generated content has been a tremendous segue for humanity to truly become part of a bigger picture, right? Of networks, of ecosystems, and that has allowed the user actually to contribute towards an overall goal of being part of something, right? And that has been great. For what? For screens that are two-dimensional, regardless of mobile or screens that are in front of desktops, right? And ideally for in the past, obviously for social media, or also for game related interactivities, right? In the age now of immersiveness, where immersiveness is actually taking beyond screens, right? Where we foresee that over the next, call it 2, call it 3, call it 4, call it 5 years, right? We will have new devices that are beyond just the screens, such as smart glasses, right? We need to initiate and empower the user with new methods of being part, actually not even content, but being part of the new ecosystem, right? And the reason why I didn't say user generated content, right, is because I believe that the future, more than user generated content, which is has the attributes of being, let's say, almost like Romeo, static, meaning two-dimensional. Yes, you can edit, you can add some music, you can customize it, tailor it, but still on a two-dimensionality way, right? So it serves still the delivery and the availability through mobile devices, right? In the future, we will be having something that is more immersive. So we are moving from user-generated content into user-generated experiences that are tailored by the digital footprint that you bring to the table. And when I say to the table, is actually more to the location, because location will be starting mattering a lot, right? Unlike, let's say, I'll call it Web 1 and Web 2, the internet era we have been having so far, right, where the physical location was just not at all relevant, right? But the physical location has only been relevant to physical businesses, right? Locations, right? Or retailers, right? Now, because of a physical digital layer that we put on top of it, right? The physical location all of a sudden becomes and receives a new value, a new uh, meaning. It becomes the canva onto which the experience is built upon. So to respond to your question, users will be empowered through applications such as Vyry to co-create at specific location a digital layer of experiences. So it's not just over imposing digital layers, right? But actually making digital layers that become one with the actual surrounding. And to become one, you need to understand the surrounding, right? And instead of just placing something in that surrounding, now it becomes interactive. So it becomes, on one hand, okay, there is a layer that understands the surrounding. When you understand the surrounding, Romeo, the subtleness, the acceptance of the digital within the physical, right, becomes accepted from the human brain, from the senses of humanity, because you are seeing that it makes sense to see something within that surrounding. And it becomes, let's call it, maybe this word is overused now, intelligent from a perception perspective, right? It understands the surrounding, and it offers you a level of behavior, of engagement mechanic that can be fun, that can be interacted with, that can be encouraging you to socialize, right? So it goes in short, beyond the limitation of traditional user-generated content into user-generated experiences that are immersive, intelligent, that have a perception and have mechanics involved to it, with the goal of what? With the goal truly of making each and every environment that we live, that we walk through, more pleasant, more surprising, more, may I love this word in English because it's short and very deep at the same time, more fun. And that way we will be having a life that will almost be alleviated from our daily stress, right? So that you have, again, pleasant, fun interactions by merging the physical and the digital world. And we, the end user, is the co creator of it.
Right, right. That sounds super interesting. And the way you are creating this world is by tracking or following the principles of these five verbs, which are trace, compose, animate, annotate, and collaborate. Can you tell us a little bit about that and why you are taking this approach?
So at the center or let me give you first a non-technical, and then lean a bit into technical, but still with understanding. So obviously, every technology has brain effort behind it, and therefore some IP, right? In order to accomplish what I described, right, you need new technology. And that new technology stack will define the future of how humanity experiences life, and therefore the surroundings, locations, people, and topics around it. Now, to build that, you need a model, an intelligent model that understands the surrounding, that reconstruct the surrounding, that is trained based on the surrounding, and that is capable of making prompting humanity through smart glasses, or initially obviously through smartphones, right? Prompting you to possibly do something there, right? Now, you mentioned a certain set of verbs, right? Now, in order to train that model, you need to support, to guide specific possible activities, right? That humanity can do with at the location, right? So unlike robots, right, that are about to or are being trained as we speak in order to safely walk through a real world in order to complete a job. You wash my dishes, but hey, be careful. Don't break half of my ceramic, right? Or a drone fly through the air. And yes, the idea of getting a delivery from Amazon or any other supplier within a short period of time is amazing, but watch out, don't break any things, right? Or don't let it drop. So be safe, right? Or autonomous vehicle. I mean, the famous, don't you don't even have to decide who to kill. Don't kill anyone, right? And on right. So these are for machines. So those machines are more trained on with works, with activity, with mechanics that make sense for machines in order to assimilate, meaning to have the real understanding of the real world, right? Again, for machine, it would be, cut, grab, complete, right? So verbs that for machine make sense, right? Now, humanity inherently, obviously, is one with nature, right? So we understand intrinsically the real world. We don't need it to be trained on what is a corner, what is a tree, right? We basically coexist with mother nature, right? But what we do need to be trained on, right, is to spark moment of enlightenment that leads into an interaction that is fun, that is pleasant, that is social, right? Yes, a human being, the one or the other might say, well, but Tommaso, we are a creative species. Yeah, we are a creative species, but if we all are creative species at any moment in time, why are we not all musicians? Why are we not all designers? Why? So let allow me to say that while we are all creative, the fact of unlocking creativity is a big challenge to human being brains, and even the creative, the Michelangelos of this world, right? The Da Vinci's of this world, the any inventor of anything, Thomas Edison of this world, right? The moment of creativity is actually something that requires effort, right? And often it's challenging, right? So what we are building is mechanics that I understand the environment that I'm in. I understand the human being that is in that environment with other coexistent peers, right? And I make suggestions. So the prompt engineering here, Romeo, would be, oh, I have three people. What are the similarities of these three people, right? What have they done most recently? Oh, they have been all on a cruise. Okay. What if we take that input and consider an engagement that is cruise-like, right? But on top of the physical world, and then you start prompting something, right? So that you expedite the moment from uh, thinking towards suggestion of what you could do with that environment. And when you say suggestion of what you could do with the environment, you could do it in a very novel way. Well, Tommaso, can you make some examples? Yeah, you could do something like, you mentioned the verbs. Why don't you create a path within two trees and four tables, right? While that reflect the cruise that you did in Egypt, right? Well, but that doesn't make sense. Well, it doesn't make sense to me right now because I was not in Egypt. But if you were in Egypt most recently, right, you would have the biggest blast on designing maybe pyramids with your fingers, or maybe taking elements and putting the pyramids there, right? Again, remember that you would do it with three like-minded peers, right? Now the questions, Romeo, if you allow me just to the legit question that would come up, well, does it mean, Tommaso, that we are going to have a very polluted world, right? Where when you wear glasses, right, that we are going to be just seeing a ton of crap that doesn't really relate to me. And that's exactly the point of affinity, right? We as an end user, we will be seeing only things that matter to us, right? So things that within the physical world have a certain level of affinity to the current status of any human being that is walking through that specific environment. To go back to the pyramids, right, and to Egypt, right? If you're totally out of context, you have never been to Egypt, and have even read about it, right, then you wouldn't see it, right? That would be kind of filtered out.
Yeah, that's where the concept of bespoke work comes in, right? So,
Exactly.
yeah, so it just might be a slightly off topic, but I just want to answer from you on this. There are already some well-developed digital worlds in place in like gaming stuff like that, like Roblox, Minecraft. How do you differentiate Fury from these already pre-existing worlds?
Yeah, we love these worlds, right? I mean, I believe that the right word, right, for the future of technology is actually worlds, right? So what once was a platform that was more leaning into APIs, backend oriented activities, maybe some customization on dashboard, but primarily two-dimensional screens, right? And now basically worlds are environments that are taking beyond the limitation of a screen. They're taking beyond the ability for you to build mechanics that are purely pre-coded, right? And truly empower the end user to customize, co-create, and give their creativity a free path that ultimately result in worlds, right? Now, the unlike let's say, um, worlds that that you mentioned, right? Minecraft and Roblox, that again we truly love and are inspired by, right? They were created for browser-based activities, right? And those browser-based activities, right, have been having tremendously success, right, and now need to be reconsidered, right, on or further matured, right, and that gives an opportunity for new players like Fidgetal, right, how the true world, the physical world, the planet Earth comes into play, right? So, in short, right, for existing players, the Canva is the browser, right? And for us, the Canva is the real world, right? For existing worlds, you have specific no coding tools, but ultimately still coding tools that pre-require some form of coding experience to build these worlds, right? While we are leaning into more the democratization of experiences by empowering the actual end user, right, to create and not primarily the developer to start the creation of the world from scratch. Now, obviously, goes without saying, developers are fundamentally important also to our world that is physical digital, right? But it doesn't need to be the initiator of that world, right? So these are kind of elements that we see of a differentiator. So different times, different target audience, different technology stacks that we all are using, right? And that's a beautiful coexistence, right? We go from browser to screenless, right? We go from mobile to smart glasses, and that's the for me the present, but for others that may be listening the near future, right?
That's fantastic. Yeah, these conversations are getting more and more fun every week. As always, Tommaso, thanks for your time. We'll hope to see you again next week. Till then, see
As
you
you
in the free
guys,
world.
bye
Bye bye.
bye, see you in the real world. Bye.